Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Too Good to Be True podcast. I am your host, Pascal Mayana. We got a lot of topics to talk about. Um, we're gonna talk about the the uh the sorry, I got a little bit of voice. So we will talk about the controversial with the MVP, the MVP of Jokic winning it for the third time. Draymond Green with the Knicks. Did you think the Knicks runs is a fluke and so on and so forth? So if you like this podcast, you're gonna listen. Just sit back and relax. So let's go uh, talk about the MVP right now. The controversial with the MVP because you know who won the NBA MVP? Nikola Jokic won the MVP. Congratulations to him. But there's been a controversial with the MVP because uh Jokic uh normally Jokic uh did not deserve to win the MVP. This is my personal opinion because of SGA amazing season run. I'm gonna move a little bit because you can see me. Oops. Sorry. I want to fix this a little bit. Hold on. Okay, there you go. There you go. So, like I said, Jokic should. I think SGA should have won the MVP. But let's look at the result. If you haven't seen it, I'm gonna share it with you guys. I'm gonna share you guys with the. Uh, yeah, there it is. Let's look at it right now. Let's look at the MVP right now. So I don't know how can I adjust this a little bit. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. If you can see the number, if you see the number right now, uh, look at the voting right now. I mean, oh, not bad. Let it grow a little bit, but I'm just trying to test it. Okay, go. Okay, it doesn't matter. It don't matter. But if you look at the number of the MVP, Jokic won. Look at the all this the first, second, and third. Look at the number because we're gonna talk about it after we uh discuss the if SJ got robbed. Look at the number. And if you look at the first number, Nikola Jokic got 79. The second one, SGA got 40. But look at the third one. Jokic got 2. Uh, SGA got 40, but Luca got 50. Okay, and then the rest got small numbers. But I really want to focus those three because they were the top three finalists in the MVP discussion, and it was pretty tight. In the total voting, Nikola Jokic won the MVP by the majority number. Bless you. I don't know how to define MVP because MVP is more valuable players, right? You are valuable, your player in the league. But to me, they I know they finished the second in the Western Conference. SGA finished in the first, but I will make a case why SGA should have won the MVP. Remember last year, OKC were in the play-in, and this season we didn't know if they're going to make the playoffs because if they didn't, it will be a failure. Surprise, surprise! They end up in the first place, first in the Western Conference, which was a surprise to everybody. And SGA is balling. Okay, we're not gonna lie, he's balling the regular season and he's balling in the playoffs. But there's another thing controversial I don't understand. Why they giving it lately for Jokic? You know he's down 0-2, and the timing is very wrong. The timing of it is very very wrong for the MVP. If you don't know, the same thing that happened with Dirk Nowitzki in 2007 when because he got bounced out of the first round. So to me, it's pretty weird. But let's listen to our 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 uh 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 the journalism of beyond the
Maybe
arc.
joining us live television. Ashley can't beat it. Ah, there he is. So the MVP award was just in time. The MVP award was announced last night. No surprise here. Nikola Jokic won his third award in the last 4 years. He's just the ninth player in NBA history to win it three times. He's just the second player ever to average at least 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in a season. The only other guy to do it was Oscar Robertson back in 1961, 62. Wasn't really close here, Chris. Joker got 79 first place votes compared to just 15 for SGA, 4 for Luca, 1 for Giannis. Ashley's guy, Jalen Brunson, actually finished fifth, so congratulations to him. But Chris, we'll start with you here. Where does this put Joker all time? Like, what kind of company is he in now?
I had to get myself back on the camera after Ashley's take last time. Sorry about that. I had to remove myself for a second to get my chi back. But I'll tell you this: it's unbelievable actually for a player of his caliber. You know, I mean, he's just an unbelievable player, very gifted, drafted in the second round, and what he's been able to do with his career in a small market, Ashley, like Denver, where he's won the championship, three of the last four. The European influence he culminates it by winning three of the last four. And some of the company that he's in, a la LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Will Chamberlain, Kareem Bird, Magic, you name it, it just goes to show you what his ability and also show you how the game has changed. They can say positionless. Certainly, he's a point guard playing in a center's body, almost averaging a triple double. I mean, just unbelievable that he's been able to do what he's done. Now, so good always is my guy, SGA. I thought for what he did for his team to be the number one seed. If the coach was the player of the year, it was the coach of the year, right? So they give the accolade. They say that, oh, what he did changed the franchise. The coach, right? Coach of the year. Then how can SGA not be the player of the year? I get it. Jokic, again, not to besmirch him or to say that or denigrate what he did this year was certainly phenomenal. But for OKC, for us to be talking about the Thunder this time of year, number one seed. Now they did tie, was a tiebreaker, but at the end of the day, I like SGA, but no shame in picking Joker for the MVP.
Chris, I mean, you should let your boy Rick Carlisle know that a small market developed a three-time MVP. Like, that's, I mean, the conspiracy obviously doesn't travel all the way to the Mile High City, apparently. So it's just, I guess, everyone below them. But listen, Jokic, I feel like, once again, maybe is how do we word this? I think that Jokic look has kind of solidified what he's able to do, and maybe that gives him more eyes than maybe SGA received this year. OKC has been under the radar for a very long time. I do think that matters when you talk about MVP voting. It shouldn't, but it does. But I think the bigger picture here for me is not so much about the voting process. I think if you went ahead and maybe tighten the qualifications on who was eligible to get a vote casted in the first place. Like the fact that Sabonis got a 1 first round vote is insane. That should have gone to someone like SG or Luka. It wouldn't have made the difference, but at least you're tightening the criteria and the people eligible who are actually eligible to receive the award. The fact that Kevin Durant's receiving votes at all is crazy. But for me, the bigger issue is more about the timing of this award, right? Because I think that most people know that Jokic has been phenomenal this entire regular season. But because I think that people are prisoners of the moment, all you really have in the forefront of your mind is that Jokic is down 0-2 in a series that a lot of people have the Denver Nuggets winning. And if you go down in history, the last MVP to actually win the finals was Steph Curry in 2014, 2015. It was LeBron James, Tim Duncan, and Shaq who did it before him. So it has been a huge issue that giving out the MVP award this late into the season when it is a quote-unquote regular season award is kind of tarnishing the moment for the MVP. Joel Embiid won MVP, the 76ers got bounced. The year Giannis won MVP, the Milwaukee Bucks got bounced. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's not that it's tarnishing what the award means because the MVP is the MVP, but for me, it's tarnishing the moment. It's tarnishing the opportunity to really relish in the moment. You got to think about when Dirk won it with the Mavs. Golden State knocked them out. And here you are, the MVP of the league, having to accept this award and be happy about it when you know you're 1-2-3 Cancun. I never understood why the award is given out this late in the season when it has everything to do with the regular season and zero to do with the playoffs. It just makes no sense. Yeah. You know who won it. The votes have been casted. It's weird, and it's always been weird.
It's good. It's a good point that you brought up because the optics here aren't great. I mean, they're down 0-2, and then all of a sudden, Nikola Jokić is doing his press tour last night and going, "Hey, I won an award, and isn't this great?" and whatever. And they're struggling to get back into the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He actually talked about this last night.
I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I like the last year when I didn't get it, and then we won a championship, much better. But it's a. I don't know what to say. It's it's a journey. It's a process. It's a trusting in your teammates trusting in you. It's just a whole collective effort.
Look, I love SGA. I think he's had an awesome season, but statistically, it should be Joker to win this. But it is awkward in the middle of a playoff series where you're down 0-2. They're the first defending champs to lose the first 2 games of a series at home on their floor since 2011. The last time it happened, it was the Lakers. Yeah. They ended up getting swept. And you're sitting there with your award going, look at me, I'm the best player in the NBA. But, oh, yeah, the Minnesota Timberwolves are kicking our behind right now. How do they climb back into this series? Joker in the playoffs has been really good. Last game wasn't great for him. Jamal Murray, he lost his mind the other night and threw a heating pack on the floor and was throwing a temper tantrum. And Michael Malone was throwing a temper tantrum at the refs. But that whole team needs to be better, including Jokic.
And Jamal Murray refused to apologize for it, I believe. They were talking. He refused to speak to the media about it. He refused to apologize for it, which is more so for me. Listen, bad games happen in series. Like, there have been reigning champs who don't two-peat. It's very hard to two-peat. It's very hard to three-peat. That's not a knock to the Nuggets. But it's the way that they're losing that I feel like is the biggest red flag. They are just combusting. And it's when you see their body language, that for me is the biggest thing. I mean, Jamal Murray so visibly frustrated that you're throwing things at referees. You just won a championship last season. I mean, you're supposed to be a world champion. You're supposed to have a different aura about you. And it's just like they're so beaten mentally that you don't even care about what's happening on the court at this point. It's just like you expect more of a killer instinct, a back against the wall, we're going to keep fighting instinct from someone who just hoisted a trophy last year. To me, that's the biggest thing.
Listen, basketball is all about matchups, right? That's all it's all about is matchups. These teams split during the regular season. And again, this is a point that I think people cannot gloss over. The two coaches, Nori and Chris Finch, work for Mike Malone. They know where all the bodies are buried. They know all the different ins and outs of what that program is and how that organization runs. The absolute wrong person to have the keys to the castle are those two guys. And I might add, they got a better bench. I said it last year. I don't the
For
Nuggets
sure.
survived last year because they did not have injuries. I don't care who Joker is. They didn't have injuries. They had a great couple guys come off the bench that were good, right? But they had a great starting five that did not get hurt. We talked about the Knicks, OG going out, it may affect him. But here's the deal. The Timberwolves are just better, guys. We can talk about Ant
They're
Edwards. It's
good.
not just Ant-Man. They're better. They're more athletic. They're longer. They've just got a better team. And they did it without Rudy Gobert in the second game, four-time MVP. So now they're going back to the Target Center. We're just seeing what last year's champion is just what it is last year. And to address Jamal Murray, sore winner. How were you when you were beating my Lakers and you knocked down two shots? You don't see LeBron throwing stuff on the floor. Like, it's ridiculous. And Mark Davis, let me address him. You don't throw out Mike Malone for running on the floor, but you throw out Rick Carlisle last night for clapping in your face. It's ridiculous. Guys, act like you've been there before. Stop. How about this? Stop acting like a small market team, right? So my thing is,
Ah, there we go. Bringing it
stop
back
acting like
full
a small
circle.
market team.
And it's interesting too. You mentioned the two coaches who knew Mike Malone. Tim Connolly. I think it's absolutely fascinating that he ended up building.
So you heard, I'll stop here right now because I know what the rest are gonna say. But piggyback what Ashley Nicole said, it's kind of true. 100%, I 100% agree with her. And like I said my previous moment, previous couple minutes, what I said is that the timing of it of the MVP is pretty much it's pretty much ruined the moment as a player have won the MVP. You know, I'll give an example. We brought the example of Dirk Nowitzki, right? And to me, I think the NBA need to figure out how to give the MVP. Sorry, remember my language. The MVP before the playoff, or give it in start it in the first round before you start the playoffs. So at least they can have their moment. Now the question is, I'll ask myself: do you think SGA got robbed? Yes, he did get robbed because we overlook. Well, I'm not going to say small market team, but we've been overlooked. We were overlooked at him during the regular season because we didn't there was no expectation. But now that OKC made the playoff, especially the second round, now everybody's looking at SGA right now. So to me, he should have won the MVP. That's my conclusion of it. He should won the MVP, and that's it. That's all we gotta say about that. To end the discussion, he should have won the MVP, and it's gonna be very hard next year for SGA to reduplicate the same thing did like what he did in this season. It's gonna be very difficult because Anthony Edwards is coming, John Morant, maybe Luca, and other players in the West, even in the East also. You never know. So that's all I gotta say about that.